Welcome to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Braylon Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Timing pattern to Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Where we bring you the best in sports, entertainment, and insight. Join us every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we break down the latest games, analyze the biggest plays, and dive into the hottest topics in sports. We'll have exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and guests, and you'll get a front row seat to all the action. So tune in to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Got one-on-one going end zone. Edwards in the air. Oh, what a catch by Braylon Edwards. His second touchdown of the game.
On the Woodward Sports Network, where sports comes to life.
I do not care how much sports information you've been able to absorb so far. I don't care how tired you are or how hungry you are. Please do yourself a favor. At 3 o'clock today, be here, the Braylon Edwards Show, because the best segment in sports, TV/radio, however you want, streaming, whatever you want to call it, will come your way. It is Braylon's Breakdown. It is going to be awesome. I promise you that, because he is not disappointed yet. He doesn't care about pressure.
Yeah.
He's lived through it. He's golfed through it. We'll show you what I mean here in a moment. But it's great to have you back. How was it yesterday?
It was good. I guess I'll get into it first, and then I'll say what I'll say after that. Silent protest right here. It is what it is. Nothing more needs to be said. It was fun. It's always fun when you engage yourself in events that are bigger than yourself or causes that are bigger than yourself. I got a chance to work with Xavier DeGroat, who we've had on the show before. He's autistic on the spectrum, and he wanted to make a difference in this world as it relates to a space that he knew, a space that made him uncomfortable as a young child, a space that he had to navigate, and he's done it amazingly. So his golf outing, his third annual golf outing, the Xavier DeGroat Autism Foundation, third annual outing, it was a really big success. Rain sucked. It rained literally the first 2 hours, not a drizzle, but actual rain. We played through it, but once again, it was for a great cause. And afterwards, when it cleared up, we went on to the dinner portion of things in the live auction, and we raised a lot of money. And
That's
myself,
awesome.
Mike Hart was there, got pictures with Mike. Haven't seen him in a while. He looked good. Have some great conversation. It's funny, I run into Mike on the day Michigan signs #1 running back in the class of 2026, so that was very random. And I got a chance to meet Ernie Els, like randomly.
Big Easy.
I'm a golf nerd, man, and he's a big guy. He was probably eye to eye, maybe a little shorter. Super nice, man. His wife stole the show. She was funny. She invited me to golf down in Florida, so looking forward to golf with the Big Easy and Be Easy down there in Florida. But the cause was amazing, and to see people show up for Xavier. A lot of people had known him in the Frankenmuth area his whole life. So to show up for him, to raise money for him, his goal was raise $5,000. I raised $14,000 being live auctioneer on just one helmet. So
Wow.
they raised a lot of money, and we
Good
know
for you.
we know where the money goes. So good for him, more importantly. But I promise you, we are dialed into football season now. The golf stuff is over. There will be no more mention of golf. As you see the Big Easy right there, shout out to Ernie Els. I'm a big dude. You see where he's at.
Yeah.
That's an eye-to-eye conversation, and he's a golfer, ladies and gentlemen. But
He's
back.
got one of the smoothest swings ever. Him and Fred Couples.
For a tall guy, too.
Yeah. And he was a hell of a champion. He really was. Had a chance to meet him at the Rocket Mortgage Classic a few years back, and I was a little taken aback by how big he was too.
I was taken back by how cool he was, how chill he was. I've been around, I'm not going to say a lot, but I've played a lot of these outings. I've been around some pro golfers, and they're not always the most easy. They're not always the most chill. The younger golfers are because they grew up in a different time, but some of the older individuals, a little more stiff. Ernie was lights out. You see him laughing in the picture. Like, we're just engaging, so that was super cool. He and Bernhard Langer are like two pros I play with that I just have nothing but glowing reviews to talk about. But I want to talk about something, Shep.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it okay if I start with the show? We'll get into
Please do.
sports.
It's your show. Go.
Let's get into, that was Ernie's wife. She was literally she was lights out, man, in all ways.
That's a lot of Michigan gear to auction off.
It is, and we packaged it up. He had a bunch of different items, kind of, for the auction. I've been in a bunch of these. You've been in a bunch of these. You can't just do a pennant and a picture.
Right.
So that's what me and Mike are starting to do. We're packaging up. Okay, we got a mini helmet here. Here's a football. Maybe add a picture to it. Here's a hat. Boom. We'll try to get $1,000 for this. And we went down the line, and It
I
didn't
love
even
that.
need it after the helmet.
Did you invite Ernie to be maybe your guest at a Michigan football game?
And 100%.
Has he ever been to one?
No,
That would be really cool.
I do not know.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I remember Miguel Cabrera told me one time that his daughter was looking at different schools.
Yeah.
Okay, and his daughter wanted to go to Michigan. So he, on a Saturday, the Tigers were playing a Saturday night game. Michigan was playing, I believe, a noon game. He took his daughter to look at the school, tour the school, and then he stayed for half of a football game. And he had never been to a Michigan football game. He walks into the clubhouse, and I went up to him, and I just said, hey, because I'm always interested on what a lot of players who aren't from our area think of our area. Yeah. What do you think of Ford Field? What do you think of Little Caesars Arena? What do you think of Frankenmuth?
Does the hype match?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Have you been up north? That's oftentimes what I say to them.
Traverse
I want
City,
you,
cross Mackinac Island.
Yeah, during the All-Star break, I used to say it to players all the time. Do yourself a favor. If you're not going home and you're sticking around, take a trip up north. Yeah. Go to the different places, right? So I asked Miguel Cabrera, what was it like? He goes, oh, Poppy. He goes, I tell my daughter, you go here, I'll go to every game with you. He was just blown away. Yeah. It was the first time he'd ever been there. So with Ernie Els, my point is maybe you do that with Ernie Els. That'd be a hell of a memory for him, too.
Yeah, I got his information, and we're already connected in this group chat that Xavier set up. Shout out to Xavier. I appreciate that. He's dead. He's dead ass. Like, he already commented. He already responded in the text. Like, so that's kind of how you judge a fellow personality, if you will, for lack of a better word. He's a superstar, you know, superstars, if you will. How fast do they return that text? How fast does the information come back? Like, if you
Kool-Aid can relate.
Everything's super cool. It's yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Look, 313. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Yeah. All right. Bet. Yeah. Look. Day 1, day 2, day 3, month 2, month 4. You're like, they blowing smoke.
Yeah.
You already respond to text. But it's interesting you bring up Miggy, because I want to talk about a team in which, you know, we've been talking about ad nauseum for the better part of the start of our show, and it's the Detroit Tigers. You know, and for the last couple weeks, I think every day or every 2-3 days, we come in here and we're like, all right, Shep, you know, what's it going to be? What number is it going to be till you start worrying about the Tigers? What is it with the pitching? Shep, right now, you know, the pitch is not working. Well, Shep, the batting's not working as well. Well, it doesn't seem like the skipper knows what he's doing at the time. And you just stay the call. You stay the line. You relax. You chill. You tell us that it's an up and down, long season. Look at this team. Look at that team. You got to relax. You got to have some faith. Over the last 15 games, man, Tigers have been lights out. You know, it seems like they found their way. Last night's game, just a quick side note, it was amazing fielding. Like, I've never been so excited of a 1-0 game-ending score. Super excited. The fielding was lights out on both sides, if you will. But when Wintel Perez, Ibanez in the infield, Christian Walker on the other side made some great plays as well for them at the first base. But everything has kind of found its mark, if you will, in these last couple games. And we asked, what is it you need to see? What is it you need to see from the Tigers where you'll start to believe? Well, you want to see them do it against teams that matter. Last time I checked, the Minnesota Twins, they matter. You want to see them do it against teams that are just as good as them. Last time I checked, the Houston Astros put themselves in a position where they were neck and neck with the Detroit Tigers. The way they have played in this series against the Houston Astros, they have a firepower lineup in that spot. When you look at Pena, Correa, and Altuve, like Shep, they're sitting at 4-22 right now. They're sitting at 4-22 in terms of what the pitchers have done to them. And then Scuba gets 10 Ks last night, gives up 2 hits. They're doing everything, and they're finding bats. 68 hits, I want to say, or 68 runs in that 15 games. They're stepping it up. This is what we asked for. So I talked all that stuff when they were sliding. I want to give you and the Tigers some love when they're taking it back up a notch, and they are third best odds currently to win the World Series.
Yeah, they're what happens in baseball, you're in most cases, it's not going to happen with Colorado this year. You're going to win 60, you're going to lose 60.
Yeah.
What happens in the other 40? And it is so damn hard to be consistent in life, but especially in baseball. Players are going to go through ups and downs. We've seen it with Kyle Tucker. We've seen it with Pete Crow Armstrong. We've seen it a couple times with Riley Green. That's why I encourage people all the time, don't just focus on the Tigers. Yeah. So the Tigers have had a bad month of July, period. Okay? That doesn't mean that they're done. It doesn't mean that people should give up on them either. They're 10-7 in the month of August. They're up 6-0 right now, opening up a can on Houston yet again.
BTA.
So they're going to be
Yeah.
they're going to be 11-7 in the month. So they've had 2 losing months, and the first losing month was March. They were 1-3. It really doesn't count. So they've had 1 losing month. People are measured against the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, the Dodgers in July had a really bad month too.
Yeah.
Okay, they went 10-14, and they lost the lead in their division. San Diego leapfrogged them because San Diego was rolling. This is what happens. Yeah,
Their own division.
yeah. This is what happens. So I don't know if people believe in Milwaukee. I'm not asking you to. I would hope that the Tigers have done enough, because everybody knows they're not going to win.
Yeah.
The Tigers have done enough for you to at least believe that this is like. How many times did you and I read something in the chat? Cleveland's going to catch them. Guess what? Cleveland's in 3rd place right now.
Ain't happening.
Kansas City is closer to the Tigers, 9 games back, starting play today, than Cleveland is 9.5.
Yeah.
So I get the emotional attachment, and I think it's great. But in baseball, you're riding every day the wave, where in football, you're riding it once a week, and then you spend a week to analyze it. There's a huge difference.
Also, too, you're 100% correct. And I know you don't believe in the momentum, but I'm not looking at momentum. I'm just looking at the period of play. You're talking about from pretty much May of last year to where we are now. The Tigers have shown you consistent baseball. They've shown you playoff winning baseball. I think, why didn't we do that with the Detroit Lions? Once the Lions went 9-8, and we believe they should have gotten the playoffs because of the Seattle Rams game, you believed in the Lions for the rest of the time. It was like, I believe in it. This is going to happen. Next year they're going to win the Super Bowl. They came close to almost getting to the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, with the team that we watched beat the Houston Astros in the playoffs last year, and the nickel throwaway from beating the Cleveland Guardians in the playoffs, we completely continuously fall out of favor with the Tigers. I don't know. Insert Scooble, 10 strikeouts. They go on 10-15. Oh, man, they're going to win a World Series. Let something happen again. We got to let it go. What is what is. And the Tigers are a damn good baseball team, and they're coached by a damn good coach who has players that are emerging is really, really good.
I think he's the best manager in baseball.
Yeah,
I really do.
agree.
And I don't say that because of how well they're playing.
Nah.
I've said this for the last few years. I see how players respond. You know this better than I do. How do players respond to coaches? That doesn't mean that they're always the best, but let me give you an example. So I'm a little biased here. I'll be free to admit it. I loved Jim Caldwell. Mad respect for him.
Yeah.
One of just a good man, period. All right? And I'm not saying that anybody else isn't. I'm just saying he was a good man. The guy who followed him was a piece of crap. But anyway.
The players for the Lions in that era that you respect, they love Jim Caldwell. You have to say no more. Calvin,
absolutely.
They love Jim Caldwell.
For sure. Monday through Saturday, I can't imagine anybody being better. Professional athletes, professional football players would have a better gauge on how good or bad he was on Sunday. Yeah. But there's something about playing hard and caring about the guy who cares about you. I think the Tigers recognize how good of a manager A.J. Hinch is, and what they appreciate most about him is the openness and the honesty and the communication that he has with them. I think you can relate to that. I'm sure you've been part of teams with staffs that don't have those types of characteristics, and you felt like something was missing because you've had guys who have owned those characteristics, and you knew you were going to play hard for them.
Yeah, when you talk about being with Rex Ryan, being with Pete Carroll, and even Jim Harbaugh, like just seeing how they operate, barring what you don't like about a coach, it's the respect factor that you have with guys when they're successful. And those three had a way of relaying information, treating us such as adults, and trusting us with that information, and lighting up when you need to lighten up, hardening when you need to harden up for the practices or the run is coming, or where you had too many games to slow it down. You're trusted in them. When you have a loss, when you have a major loss. Look, in 2010, we were 9-2. The Patriots were 9-2. We're in the battle of the AFC. We're playing in Foxborough, and we beat them the first time we played them that season. We're rolling. We're feeling good. We're coming off Hard Knocks. We feel like we should have been in the Super Bowl the year before. Like, this is our revenge tour. Man, we got our ass destroyed. I'm talking about to the tune of 49-3.
Wow.
49-3. And in that moment, we had to somehow pick the pieces up and still believe that we were the best team in not the league, but the AFC East. which we were a part of, and Rex found a way to do that. He found a way to get us back on track. He found a way to let us remove ourselves from that loss and still understood what was on the line moving forward, and we were able to do that. We get into the playoffs, and then we win the first game. We win the first round against the Colts. Then we have to see the same Patriots team again in the semis. Guess what? You guessed it, at Foxborough. And in this moment, it's the best game we ever played. It's the best game I've ever been a part of. We beat the number one team, number one LC in the AFC, but it goes back to after we lost that game, that adversity, Rex was able to handle it in a way which we trusted him. So we were able to stay the course. You know, we still had bumps and bruises up the road, but we got back to that place and we performed and we beat the Patriots. So when you trust a guy like that, you can get through a season, little things that we as fans look at, and we're like, oh, man, what about this? Or they lost that, or this picture didn't look good. They're not worrying about it.
That's a really cool story. I've always wondered this because I used to read articles about how much a manager made a difference in a Major League Baseball game, and they would say he's worth about 5 wins, which I'd laugh my ass off because I think it's so much more than that. How much do you think of all the coaches, NBA, NHL? We'll just take the 4 majors, okay? Because I don't know anything about racing, okay? And the pit crew leader.
That's fair.
They are fast.
They're fast.
The 4 major coaches. Who do you think has the most impact on a game? Rank them 1 to 4 for me. Because I've got mine written down. I want to see how it matches with yours.
That line change thing in hockey is pretty special.
It's big.
Like, to be able to control that line thing, I think is really special in hockey. I got to give some kudos. I had to start with that so you know that I'm tapped in. I'd say, I'm going to go with my love. I'm going to go football, baseball, NHL, and basketball.
That's exactly what I have. Exactly what I have. And I have the NFL just because I think the coach is in on every single – he's listening to every single play, every call, right? I'm not saying the head coach is going to – I'm not saying Dan Campbell is going to tell Kelvin Shepard, I don't want that defense, but he knows what's going on. He's listening.
100%.
Right. The manager is more impactful than people realize. First of all, it's not just putting a lineup, putting a starting pitcher on. He is thinking 4 to 5 innings ahead, and he wants matchups. And the way A.J. Hinch does it, he drew it for me a number of times on a whiteboard why he has the lineup the way he does and who he expects out of the bullpen first and so on and so forth. So there's a method to that madness.
Can I pause you there and just elaborate on A.J. Hinch? This is what I was trying to get to and I actually forgot. With A.J. Hinch, he's the only manager that I watch in MLB where I'm just like, man, like he is strategizing at every second, man. This is something that he's rehearsed. This is something that he's watched. He's looked at this lineup a million times in his head and said, this is what I'm going to do in this inning. This is who I want against this batter. He's the only skipper, and I could be wrong, you know, because there's a lot of good skippers in MLB, but he's the one that I can see it working. I can see the cogs turning. I can see it actually happen on the field. Like, all he's doing is, like, playing this game in his head. Like, that's why I think he's the best manager, because I can see it. It's different. It's more engaging.
Yeah, he'll be manager of the year. I don't think there's any question about that. The reason I put hockey right there with him is because I think those head coaches, to your point, they're changing up their lines, but they're also double shifting guys, right? And then you've got power play units and PK units too, and a strategy of just using one timeout, who comes in if one guy gets bounced from the faceoff circle, when to pull the goalie, if at all, when to pull the goalie in a 1-goal or a 2-goal game. There's a lot of different decisions. With all due respect to basketball coaches, and it's not that, you know, somebody's got to be last on a list like this, I think there's a lot of freelancing in the NBA.
Agreed.
Okay?
Agreed.
I think it's more structured in college basketball, and the reason it works is because a lot of those student athletes look at their coaches as just a guy who's impeding them to get to their ultimate goal, and they're going to listen to him and they have to deal with him.
John Calipari.
Okay, yeah, John Calipari. That's a good one. So, but I think in the NBA, how many different ways can you run horns? How many different ways can you run zipper? Most teams are all running that stuff. It's players making plays off the freelance or whatever the opposing team is denying you.
I do believe, though, that's why the best basketball coaches stand out, though, because those are the ones that can go beyond just running a play, and they can do things like putting your players in better position. Like, it was awesome to see a coach like J.B. Bickerstaff make the game understandable for the young players. Yeah. Media day, they were all talking about the fact that he came here and has made the NBA understandable after some of these guys have been here for 2 to 4 years. then you see the defensive improvement.
Yeah.
So I do, and then the X's and O's. When you're attacking certain matchups in the playoffs, where you see certain coaches melt because they don't know how to make that necessary adjustment with the team that you've been doing a boxing match with. I think at that level, those premier coaches, I would give them a little bit more of a bump. But I do agree with the overall premise in terms of it being.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it
pretty
depends
much
on
freelance.
the sideline out of bounds and the baseline out of bounds are really big. Yeah. But I'm talking about possessions. When you've got Cade Cunningham in an all-out sprint, 84 feet, you're not stopping and going, hold on a second, please run horns on this possession.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why. But I agree with both sides because I hear what Kool-Aid is saying is very true. When you look at what the Pistons were a year ago, and then you look at what they became under JB and what they even did in the playoffs, like you really have to give a lot of credit, a lot of kudos to him. Yeah. But on the other side, too, where I understand Shep, and I'm not playing, both sides of the fence. You can have two superstars and make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like in the NBA, if you have two legit superstars and a halfway decent bench, you get in the East in the right year. You win 39 games and make the playoffs.
Yeah, right on.
So to your point, I agree with basketball being fourth, and it's no disrespect. Justin, you're a big hockey guy, man. Talk to me about the hockey coaches and where you see that placement of third by me and Matt.
I think you guys nailed it. Personally, I really like your guys' lists. I think that they have a lot of the right quantities to it. In terms of for football, is this audio booth?
Waiting to hear you. Turn that mic up for us, can you?
How's that?
Yeah, I'm not.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
So, for hockey at least, it's the same thing about Cade. When a hockey player has the puck on the rush, he is not going to be called out to do a play. Like, that is something that is pre-installed. So it's more about the practice coaching and how they're able to elevate their teams in the practices and how they're able to make the defensive formations, how they're able to draw up face-off plays. But I do think third is the perfect place for him. Yeah. I think that football has got to be number one. There's just too many things that can truly be affected. One wrong coaching decision can literally lose you a game. Yeah. And I don't think it's as life and death as hockey. And then in baseball, you're seeing it. Like how in playoff baseball in particular, every single pitch is monumental. It means so much. And if a manager makes one wrong decision, puts one wrong bullpen arm in, you lose series, you lose games. And I just don't think it's that finite when it comes to hockey and basketball.
Yeah, there are more decisions in baseball taking place than I think a lot of people realize. And some of it is fake, too. Some of it is, I'm calling a certain pitch and we're not, and we're mixing things up. So. Yeah, it's a good description. It's really fun, and the other thing is really fortunate for people here in Detroit is we've got four really, high level. Todd McClellan's really good. We've got four really high level coaches. Dan Campbell, not just because he was second coach of the year. You and I have talked about this. He deserves more credit than he gets.
Yeah, he's a very intelligent coach, and I think I start here because that's not what people see. They see the T-shirts, they see 6'5", they see he's jacked, they see he's coming out talking about biting kneecaps, and you can't see
doing down-ups.
100%. He's down-ups in practice and training camp. Yeah. You can't see past that persona, and that's just not who the extent of he is, man. You add that intelligence in there. Remember, he was running the offense, and the offense did get better in 2021 under his tutelage, and knowing that I am not the smartest man in the room. That's another thing that we continue to give him credit for. To know that I'm not this, so let me hire someone that's damn tight as it relates to the offense, as it relates to the schematics, and can figure things out. Let me hire somebody on the defensive side of the ball to do what I don't know.
And rely on them.
And
trust Aaron Glenn.
Trust.
Right.
100%.
How many people
trust
wanted
Kelvin Shepard?
Right. How many people wanted Aaron Glenn gone 2 years ago? A ton of people. There were a ton of people. I don't know if it was on this network, but there were a ton of people in the media who said, goodbye. I've had enough. Dan Campbell said, bullcrap. He's my guy, not because he's my friend. He's my guy because I believe in him. Look at how well he turned it around. There's something to be said about coaches for not making moves, too, for keeping guys, promoting guys from within. And it's not always best to go outside the quote-unquote family to bring in somebody and say, you know what, this guy's going to work because he's the guy I believe in.
Also, too, that's when you trust yourself. That's when you're very confident in who you are. Dan Campbell knew who he was. He knew what the system was going to be. And he knew what Aaron Glenn was going to be able to do. You know what else Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn knew? They didn't have the defensive players yet to actually judge Aaron Glenn. Are you judging your guys on how they got better? Derek Barnes got better from year 2021 to year 2022. Yeah, that got better. Look at Alex Anzalone under Kelvin Shepard. Look at how he changed from 21 to 22.
I didn't think he was very good when he came to
I
New
didn't
Orleans.
either. He couldn't cover the flats, and he was all over the place.
Look at how good he is now.
100%. So he trusted that Aaron Glenn was the guy. I just got to get him an Aiden Hutchinson. I just got to get him a Kirby Joseph. I just have to get him a Jack Campbell. I just got to get him a Brian Branch. And now, well, 2 years later, Aaron Glenn's voted the best coordinator in football, and now he's the head coach of the New York Jets. So you just got to let your trust for yourself, your confidence in who you hire, you got to let it rock sometimes, and he did that.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why I think it's not just because Aaron Glenn. I think I thought Terrion Arnold got better as the season went on. How much is that? How much of that is Aaron Glenn? How much of that is others? I don't know, but Aaron Glenn's part of it. All right, Jack Campbell made a massive step. Kelvin Shepard, Aaron Glenn, one's a position coach, one was the coordinator. Both of them had a hand in it. Aleem McNeil made a massive 100%. Jump, okay? One of the best defensive tackles in football. Brian Branch.
Terrion Williams, man.
Yeah. This is really important stuff, and we talk about trust with coaches all the time. It's the reason I really feel this team is going to stay successful is because of the men who are guiding these players through these tough times and making them better.
It's funny you talk about trustworthy coaches and coaches that are doing good because today's list is about coaches that are not doing so good and on that hot seat. So the transition from Dan Campbell and the things that he's doing for the Lions to some of these guys, it's going to be interesting to see who's on this list and if you agree or you don't. I guess it's some big names on there now.
Braylon's got that list.
Yeah.
We'll get to that coming up. Don't forget Braylon's breakdown at 3 o'clock. We were talking about Terrion Arnold. I think he's going to have a really big year. Terrion Arnold in practice looks strong. Why? Braylon's going to break it down for you, but first a breakdown on Venn Johnson.
Venn Johnson, you know what? Check. They are the law firm for you because they fight. They fight like Terrion Arnold. They fight like Jack Campbell. They fight like Dan Campbell. So let them fight for you. VennFights.com. That's how you contact them. Venn Johnson Law. Justice is always worth the fight, but whether it's a settlement or verdict, they've got you covered. If you got a case, contact the fires of Venn Johnson Law today and get the justice you deserve. Tough, tenacious trial lawyers. That's who they are. That's who they always been, and that's what they will be for you. Trust the fighter. Venn Johnson Law.
Putting it down on that. We also got the massage chair. If you're looking to upgrade your relaxation game, check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. It is the largest chair showroom in the Midwest, and you guys have seen that chair, man. All of us wish we had one of those in our house right now. We're glad that we got it in the studio, man. So you guys, though, you got an opportunity to get it in your house. You see that QR code there. Scan that QR code. You got to go check out their showroom. You got to check out these chairs. I'm sure that you're going to get one for your crib, too. But they got the top brands for massage chairs with Infinity and Osaki. They're located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. So experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the wellness doctor, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. VennFights.com.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsAndSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? How do they like wor And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
You're getting ready for Lions games, aren't you? You're getting ready for Michigan games, Michigan State games. Maybe you're a Mid-American guy. You're a MAC guy. That would be fine, too. Whatever the case may be, you're ready to party with your friends, and you're ready for something smooth and easy, and things just got a lot smoother for you with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea and this network, Woodward Sports Network. Real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, just a clean, crisp sip that won't fill you up on game day, whatever game it is you may be enjoying. Only 100 calories and a 4.5% alcohol content, perfect for tailgates or couch gates or in-person relaxation, whatever it is. If you're watching Detroit football or college football and watching Woodward Sports, Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea is the perfect beverage for you. Let those good times roll with Sun Cruiser and Woodward Sports, and please drink responsibly.
Talking about rolling. Hey, bro, you want to tell them where they can roll in to get that whip clean?
Hey, man, roll in. Get that whip clean, whip game proper. Pull up to Jack's Car Wash. This is the place you need to go. They have the unlimited plan, $29.99 per month, and that allows you as many washes throughout that month that you want. If you want a free car wash, how about you do this? How about you text WSN, all caps, to 888-522-1729. That's 888-522-1729. Now, we still have some summer left, and it is a beautiful part of the season once September and October early hit. So, got to get your car washed, man. Come to Jack's. Free vacuums, free compressed air, free MAC cleaning rooms, 8 interior changing locations, and also there's over 40-plus locations in the state. Jack's is the car wash for us, so it should be car wash for you as well. Pull up. And we're back.
Hey, I'm not judging.
Back with you on the Braylon Edwards Show, Monday through Friday, 2 till 4. It's about half hour after the top of the hour. What do we want to do with the top 10? You want to go top 10 here?
Let's do a little top 10. Okay. Let's talk about these coaches. Let's have some fun. We're talking a lot of Lions. We got some more Lions stuff coming up. We have a breakdown. We got some Jahmyr Gibbs things going on. But this gives you a look at the league. And I think there are a lot of teams that are on a hot seat. You want to see who you think is on a hot seat as it relates to their head man in charge. Luckily, Dan Campbell's name is not on this list. So, it's just a couple quarterbacks. A couple head coaches that I think are on the hot seat. And then what we'll do is we'll do a ranking system.
Okay.
We'll do so as opposed to put them in any type of order, we'll just put the coach up, talk about him for a second, and get a ranking system.
I like it.
5 being in fuego, and obviously 1 being, maybe he's cold. Maybe I shouldn't have him on here. So let's start. Kool-Aid. You put the first coach on here, and then we'll rock and roll and make this thing
see
right.
back there?
Oh, okay. You got him on the back wall.
Yep. So you ready?
Yep. This is cool. You can start with him.
That makes sense.
Mike McDaniel. His butt is cooking.
Let's go.
I'm going to put him at a 5. The reason I'm going to put him at a 5, he had some success early on in his career, but he can't win in the postseason. And also, his team just seems out of control and in disarray.
Yeah.
There's always in-team fighting with him, whether it's Tua and his wide receivers or Tua and members of the defense, or maybe it's Tyreek Hill who just says at the end of the last season, I don't want to be here. So I just think he doesn't have his train under wraps. And I think Stephen Ross is not a patient owner. He is a man that you only get so much rope. And I think Mike McDaniel's at the end of his rope. He's a 5 for me.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't this is personal, and it's probably unfair. The way he handles himself, I don't appreciate one bit. I don't.
A little too much bravado.
I think it seems like he tries to be buddies with the players. He tries to be one of them, and I don't think there's much separation there. To say he isn't respected is probably too strong because I'm not around them. But based on how he's handled his team, I don't think that's the way I want my coach to handle his team. A lot of times bosses don't get close with their employees. You know why? because at some point they may have to fire them. Mike McDaniel seems reluctant to have that type of separation, and I think as a head coach, you have to be able to do that, and I don't think he does it very well.
I agree. Next man up, if you will, Kool-Aid. Zach Taylor.
Wow. Okay.
Zach Taylor. This
This
is
is
what I think
interesting.
about Zach Taylor. I think two things can be true. I think he's an amazing offensive-minded coach. You see what this offense has done. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, doesn't matter what running back they've had over the years, whether it's Brown or whether it's Mixon. Offense does its job. I mean, they were 34.4 points a game last year. They do their job on offense. But I think it's a by-default situation. You know, there are times where he struggles with the defense in terms of the coaches that he's brought in. That defense has been horrible. Players, he doesn't fight to keep his players. DJ Reader, thank you, Cincinnati Bengals. I think this falls on the coach. And I think whether you are the Cincinnati Bengals front office who is very negligent and they're looking for somebody to blame always, like another franchise in Ohio, because guess what? His coach is on, their coach is on here too. He's at a 5 because of the franchise and what they are, and the new direction in which they're going in. I don't think he is in terms of him coaching as an offensive coach.
Do you think
he's a 4? Excuse me.
Do you think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is support of him, and T. Higgins perhaps too? How much do you think that matters and helps him, if at all?
It's cool, but presidents, owners do not care about what players think. You know, and guess what franchise more than any other exudes that is the Cincinnati Bengals in terms of not caring what their players think. So I think that only goes so far. But if they have another losing season where you have Joe Burrow, arguably the best quarterback in terms of pure passer, Jamar Chase, there's no arguing what he is in the league, and you have T. Higgins, and you have – if you have all of this and you lose again, you don't make it to the playoffs again, well, owner always needs a deflection. And a lot of times that deflection is the head coach. Zach Taylor could get bounced.
Yeah, I think the struggle for him is that they come out of the gate so slow, so poorly. And I know this isn't quite fair, but it feels like they aren't prepared to start a season.
Yeah, never.
Like last year, they lost to New England to start the year at home. And I'm not huge into home field advantage. I think really good teams play just as fine on the road. But it's the
There's
way.
a difference, though.
Yeah,
There's
but the way his team played that game and the way his team comes out with a franchise quarterback, the best wide receiver, well, at least one of the top 2 wide receivers, it seems very strange that they would be limited to that type of offensive output and that poor of a defensive showing.
Yeah, 100%. I think they tried to blame T. Higgins and holding out and the money issue with Jamar Chase and getting their receivers, making them happy and losing time and not playing in the preseason. It's cry me a river.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me that as an excuse. I agree with you 100%. Like, the slow starts, it's not just this year. It wasn't last year, the year before. The year they made it to the Super Bowl, it was a slow start.
Yeah.
Like, it was a slow start in which Joe Burrow just happened to be Joe Burrow and got you there with the worst offensive line in the game. You can't continue to waste Joe Burrow, and that's what it's going to come down to. Regardless of who you didn't play defensively, who you don't have on defense, it's going to come down to wasting Joe Burrow. Just like the Dolphins back in the day. It's like, we're not going to waste Dan Marino forever. We got to bring in somebody that knows what they're doing.
And you've brought this up before, too. There's just too much talent.
1000%.
When you've got that much talent, you can't be wasting it. And that's what seems like is happening.
You can't score. You can't have multiple losses in 40-point games. Like, they have multiple losses last season where their offense scored 42, scored 44, scored 40.
Yes.
And they took an L. That's crazy.
You've got to be able to come up with some solution.
Trip somebody. Jesus.
There's got to be something there, and it just doesn't seem like it is. So that's a really good choice.
Yeah.
I understand it 100%.
That's a defensive head coach loading. The Bengals will flip the script like many NFL teams do, rely on a defensive head coach, and then bring in a young OC to deal with Joe Burrow.
I like the format. Bobby Slowick down there in Houston is another good example of that with D'Amico Ryans. I'm eager to see what that looks like with health this year. Lot of bad health on the offensive side of the ball. All right,
and he's under 500, just so people know.
Yeah.
I think he's 46, 52-1 in his career.
100%. Here we go. I want to get your take on this. Next coach on my list is Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris. Now, I know last year was his first year coach, and then he switched his quarterbacks, towards the end of the season. He brought in Michael Penix, who they drafted, much to do with a lot of controversy, if you will, why you pay one $150 and then bring in another. It's because that's who they wanted all along. They wanted Michael Penix. He was there. They got him. But he just doesn't seem to have control of the team, kind of like Mike McDaniel. There's some questionable calls in there. There's questionable podium situations. Like, he's a guy that the Falcons are trying to move into a new direction. And I think if he doesn't get it this year, he'll be really on the fire. I got him at a 3.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him on this list, and I think he gets a pass to a certain extent because of his new quarterback.
Okay.
So, but they've got a lot of offensive talent, and it's a division where most people feel like they should be more competitive. Now, I'm a big believer in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are going to be a problem for other teams in the NFC if they stay healthy. I think they're very talented. I think they're very balanced. I think their front seven's really good. I think Baker Mayfield's totally legit. Mike Evans is a constant threat. So I like them.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people feel like they should be more competitive in their division than they have been.
Hear me out. In this division, I agree 100%, which I think is Tampa's to lose. I think what Baker Mayfield has turned into, and with their wide receiver cores and that young Emeka Egbuka, I'm excited to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
But this is a division that's trash outside of those two teams.
Yeah.
Let's call it a spade a spade.
New Orleans is terrible.
And so do the Carolina Panthers. And so
We'll see about that.
Well, Dave Canellis is on this list
I know.
as well.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, 100%. You got something for that?
Yeah.
All right, we'll make him next. And you tell me why Dave
he's
Canellis
next
should
anyway,
be on
so
this
it's
list.
perfect.
There we go. But I think this is a winnable division. Depending on how you look in this division is how Arthur Blank is going to look at you. Because if you look less than, that's something I got to be serious about. And maybe next year.
Yeah, could be. I think because you have a rookie quarterback and there's going to be an adjustment, he's going to get a little bit of a pass for this year.
I'm with Shep.
Dave Canellis was the assistant wide receivers coach when I was in Seattle.
Oh.
And so I know Dave Canellis well. He was the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks when I went back to Jets camp. And he said, hey, look, Braylon, I may not be here next year. That's what he told me that year, and he was no more. He is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. I have him on this list, though, because they have one of the worst front offices in terms of the moves they make, the people they keep, how they treat people, the speed at which they eradicate people for giving them a chance. Ask Frank Reich about that. I think Dave Canellis is coming to a squad that they get rid of people quick, kind of like the Houston Texans did for a while before they got DeMeco Ryans. He's in a bad spot. He's in a bad spot with Bryce Young, who I expected more of, and maybe if he gets drafted to another team, it looks a lot differently. You are where you get drafted, but nothing about Carolina lets me know that they're back, lets me know that they're going to do things and move forward. And if he has another season, which is going to be less than, then this isn't the organization to do it in. They move off people and things quick.
Yeah, it's a question because Dave Tepper, their owner, has gone from Ron Rivera to Matt Rule to Frank Reich and now Canellis. And the only positive I could possibly give for you, first of all, it's only his second year, so 5-12. And they had a 1-7 stretch there that was just brutal.
It's 2025. A lot of coaches getting fired after 1-2 years.
Yeah. But I mean, if he's going in and fighting for himself, this is what he's saying. We lost to Kansas City, Tampa, and Philly by a combined 12 points from weeks 12 through 14.
Yeah.
So I suppose there's something there that maybe he can build upon.
Yeah.
I might be reaching there. I could understand why they would make a move. On the other hand, it does reflect. At some point, people are going to look back and say, that owner has no idea what he's doing. No idea.
I mean, players that you let go, Brian Burns being one of them, you let certain players go, you don't pay certain players. Then you do the dumbest deal of all time with the Chicago Bears that they're still reaping the benefits from. Meanwhile, you're looking for starting wide receiver. Guess what? You had one. When you're looking for potential early round draft picks that can help the team on defense, guess what? You had them. So I look at it from that landscape, too. He may not be in a position to where he can get better fast enough.
That's right.
From what they have money-wise, from what they have talent-wise.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not necessarily all his fault.
Not at all.
I would guess coaches are part of these decisions. He wasn't the part of the decision for Bryce Young. But
not
again,
Robert Saleh.
No, but I got some of. I mean, the way his team played in those games against three really good teams might be used in favor of his camp to say we're getting there. Okay, so that's my pitch for him.
I like Dave Canales. I like the Panthers this year. They do play in a weak division, and that's something you always have to look at. They got 2 baked-in wins with the Saints, where we're just asking for some improvement. That's all that they're asking for, and 5 wins is not a lot to improve from, especially when you have 2 wins baked in with the Saints.
Do you think you can improve? I just gave I just gave you 3 examples against Kansas City, against Tampa, and Philadelphia, losing by a combined 12. Do you think you can improve without it turning out to be a victory? Can a team show improvement without it registering as a win? So, for example,
so can he go 8-9 and be an improved team, and let's see it that way?
Or can there be a stretch where even though he may go 0-3 against those teams, but his team looks better? You and I talked about this last week. The Lions aren't going to go 15-2 this year.
No, they're not.
But they might be a better team at the end. They might be a better team overall when all is said and done and the postseason begins. Do you believe that's possible for some of these down-ridden teams that are searching for an identity?
I think it's possible for Carolina because I look at what the Cardinals have done the last 3 years. But what happened? This is what you're asking me. 2 years ago, they legitimately were fighting. They beat the hell out of Cowboys. They had 3 other games in which they were right there. And you see what Jonathan Gannon, who's also on this list, had to see what he has to offer. And you're like, oh, man, they may be losing, but they're fighting. Connor's running hard. What's his safety? Buda Baker is making plays. He's riled up. He's giving speeches on the sideline. You see they play with intensity. Yeah. And then you see the record at the end of the season, they started like they had something. So I can see that world. Okay. Cardinals have done it a couple of times.
And they improved their offensive line, which was their biggest issue the last couple of years, and Carolina did address that. I do like Tevin McMillan a lot. I think he's going to be a very nice weapon for Bryce Young. I think there's going to be some improvement. How much? I'm not going to put a pin in it, but I at least think they're going to win 7 games, and that's an improvement if you're Carolina, and puts them on track to make the playoffs. And to give your example a little validity, the Detroit Lions, the first year under Dan Campbell, showed improvement throughout the entire year. They didn't win games sometimes, but they were better. They looked better. They looked like they were actually figuring some stuff out, and that's what I believe Carolina did last year.
Yeah, with the Detroit Lions, to that point, you're absolutely right. They trusted Dan Campbell. That was the thing that you saw in that stretch run. You saw players learn from Dan, players respond to Dan, players hold Dan down all season long. So I think that's what you saw, waiting to see that from Coach Canales, if you will. Give me the head coach of the New York Giants. Put him up here right now. Put him up here right now.
That's the hottest seat.
And let me tell you what I have to say about him. He would be number 1 because his booty is cooking. Cooking. I'm talking about gasoline draws on. This is who Brian Daboll is. The only reason why he's not a 5, he's a 5 to me. The only reason why I wouldn't grade him as a 5 is because they just drafted Jackson Dart. And they're not going to draft Jackson Dart, who's going to be a project, and get rid of Brian Daboll, who unfortunately has shown us that he does know how to be an offensive coordinator. He did it with Josh Allen, and he did it early on with Danny Dimes. So I don't think he'll get fired unless something tumultuous happens on the field, on the sideline, much like he did with the surface with Daniel Dimes. But him, players don't respect him. The players don't like him. The franchise is at a peril with him in terms of he's a lot of things.
That's interesting. I was unaware that players don't like him. I mean, remember, this is a guy just a few years removed from being named Coach of the Year.
Yeah, he beat the Vikings in the playoffs.
Yeah, so which tells you something. I understand it 100%. I mean, he's 9-25 in his last 2 seasons. They have upgraded, at least in parts, their offensive line. I would say they're a top half defense. I don't know if they're top 10, but they're a top half defense, right?
There's Burns. That's what Burns went. They still have Thibodeau. They still have Lawrence.
Right. Their front line, their front defensive line is pretty damn good. I love Malik Neighbors. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I don't know how quickly they're going to move on from Russell Wilson or James Winston to Jackson Dart, who's looked pretty good in the preseason. I stress that.
80% of his passes are screens.
But we'll see what happens with him. I do believe he's got to be on the hot seat, not just because it's New York, but because his team has failed the last 2 years and failed miserably.
Yeah, I know his chauffeur because I used to use the same guy. Brian Daboll he's not a light guy right now.
Okay.
I'm just saying, so winning solves everything, especially in a place called the Big Apple. I know about it. I was there. So if he wins, everything was swept up under the rug. But if he doesn't, they will be looking at his little ball himself, 100%.
Yeah. What were the number? What's the number of wins he needs to achieve in order for him to have his rear end cool off a little bit.
To cool off 11.
11?
Cool off 11.
Wow.
To 0?
To
or
cool
do you
off.
mean like to 2 or to 3? Where he's still a little bit on the hot seat, but he's got a little bit of a goodwill that he can build off of for next year.
Yeah, if he wins 11 games, he's fine.
Wow.
If he wins 10 games, and how do those 7 games look, and what's the intensity on the sideline, and what does it look like when he's at the podium, and what does it look like from the respect of the players? Like, if that 10 wins and those 7 losses do that, then I'm absolutely right. But if you win 11 games, you're getting in the playoffs.
So you think he's going to make the playoffs?
Yeah,
I think they'll be.
You said to cool off.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think they'll be very fortunate to win 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I suppose there might be an expectation that is higher in New York, but you got to look at who the trigger is, and if Russell Wilson isn't going to be Russell Wilson in Seattle, and that's asking an awful lot, and you turn to a rookie in Jackson Dart, there's going to be a feeling out process. That's the way it usually is.
We said, what is the win total to cool off?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, 11 is to cool off, because if you win 11, now no one's worrying about you as a head coach. You've gotten to the playoff. Now you might get 2-3 more years because you're going to get an extra year anyway. I'm understanding coming into this that Brian Daboll's not getting fired after this year.
Okay.
So if he goes 8-9 and it looks terrible, guess what? He's still on the hot seat.
Yeah.
And next year he could potentially get canned if it doesn't go a certain way. So I mean, maybe that is too high. Maybe it's a solid 9 with players following him.
All right, let me ask you: is that it? Is that the list?
There's a couple more.
There's a couple more, but we don't have to.
Okay. This makes sense. I was going to ask you about him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shane Steichen and how the Indianapolis Colts have handled the situation. Anthony Richardson Jr. Look, yes, what he did in that game where he tapped himself out because he was tired. It's one of those situations like Cam not jumping on that fumble. That is something that's going to follow him for a very long time. Unfortunately, I've never seen anybody tap themselves out of the game, Shep, and say I was tired, and that be the excuse. Yeah. So I think that will haunt him. But how they've handled that, how they've handled Anthony Richardson, how they bought in the quarterback situation, it's like a show there. And I don't know if it's a representation of rest in peace to Jim Irsay, but I doubt it. I think this is what it was like in Indianapolis when he still was alive. So Shane and his offense, he's supposed to be the offensive guy. You saw the success that Jalen Hurts had.
Yeah, I'm not going to stick up for him, but I think your example of Anthony Richardson is really interesting. How do you think that should have been handled?
I think you got to support him. I think you got to support him, put him in a better space of support, and maybe you figure out a way at this podium to how we're going to handle this and make you look as good as you can in the situation, because you look terrible. And I think how they handled it, how he handled it at the podium, they weren't having his back. He looked even worse than he could. And I don't think he's recovered from that moment realistically. And I think the way that they've treated it and the way that he's gone about it as a 24-year-old kid or 23-year-old kid trying to figure it out.
Yeah, because, I mean, most people would strongly suggest you got to have another quarterback. I don't think that's necessarily Daniel Jones at all.
He's a guy named starter.
But he was named starter yesterday. But if you're looking at a guy like Anthony Richardson, you recognize that he's not inspiring anything, why do you feel the need? I'm asking this in generic form, not you particularly. Why do you feel the need that you gotta support him any more than you already are? If he's not the answer. Why? And he's a guy who tapped out, which I would guess really loses the respect of a lot of players.
Over.
Yeah. But so why do you feel like you need to do that?
Because you're still stupid enough, in my opinion, because there were a lot of people here on this network and other networks that thought he deserved to be the Detroit Lions draft pick that year because he deserved to be the quarterback. He had this huge arm and he had all this upside. I watched the game. I watched him and Will Levis. There was nothing worth drafting in that game. But I digress. It's trade value because at this point you're trying to get all you can out of Anthony Richardson. I think it's one of those situations where you got to be like John Lynch in this situation and how they handled Trey Lance. Like they knew they messed up, the 49ers, when they traded all that to go get a guy that played 16 games or 14, whatever it is, from North Dakota. They said, look, he's not it. Dallas, what you got? Dallas got a 5th-round pick. They got a 5th-round pick out of that deal. That is a very valuable pick. You can do some things with that. So I think you try to keep him in a, like a cool, chill space, a supported space, so that you can make him look as good as he can so that when you package them up
Yeah.
to let somebody come to the door, they're not offering you a 7th rounder, they're offering you a 5th rounder.
You're not suggesting they start him. You're just saying you don't like the way they've handled his situation and his failures.
Yes, 100%.
Okay,
so
good.
far. Yeah.
I just want to make sure of that. Some numbers associated with Anthony Richardson, and I know it's not that we necessarily need to get into Indianapolis Colts football, but 55 quarterbacks have 175 attempts over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson ranks 55th out of 55 in accuracy, 55th out of 55 in completion rate, and 50 out of 55 in touchdown to interception ratio. That is putrid. One more for you, and then you can move on. On passes thrown of 7 yards downfield with no pressure, he's completed 38%.
Yeah.
The NFL average is 57%. So in other words, over the last 2 years, he's dead last in just about any significant category for any quarterback.
And that goes back to the front office on even drafting him in the first place. Look, I don't want to besmirch anyone's name or talk bad about him. I want the kid to be successful in this league because it makes for good football. The one play he had against the Detroit Lions, oh my God, like you can see the potential. But also, you drafted a kid that wasn't worthy of the pick, that wasn't worthy for you to put the number 1 starting quarterback for your franchise on. You did it, and he's a kid that probably he acted in such. Tapping yourself out of a game, that is more, evidence of this guy wasn't ready. He never was ready, and he's looking at it like, they made me starting quarterback 5th pick overall. I can blah, blah, blah. He was the wrong guy from the beginning, and you put a guy that wasn't ready in that situation, and here we are talking about him tapping out of the game, which, by the way, to my knowledge, no starting quarterback has ever tapped his helmet, went to the sideline, and then the reason be, I was tired. I was too tired for the drive. You'll see receivers do it. You'll see receivers get a tap
That's
out.
because they're running down.
100%. Quick tap out. Yo, you sub me in and give me a blow real quick. Quarterback? Quarterback? So it's a failed experiment all around.
Yeah.
At this point.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, next guy.
Who's on this board?
Wow, that's surprising.
That's kind of wild.
It's Sean McDermott hate, man. Just make it Sean McDermott hate, nothing less. We talk about wasting Joe Burrow. Hey, when are they gonna get it done? When is he gonna cross the finish line? Like at the end of the day, last time I checked, the guy that he can't beat. Is Andy Reid, correct?
Correct.
When Andy Reid was with the Philadelphia Eagles, how many times did he get to the NFC Championship? 5. When he was with the Eagles. It's 4 for sure, maybe 5. Let's say 4. 4 times he got to the NFC Championship. You think that's good football.
Yeah.
You think that's good ball.
Yeah.
Not for the Philadelphia Eagles. They got rid of Andy Reid. At some point, you cannot keep having the same conversation. But Josh Allen plays so well in the playoffs. But Sean McDermott, he's turned his ways around, because he did, because he almost got fired 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He turned his ways around, got rid of Ken Dorsey, figured it out. So kudos to him. But you can't keep knocking on the door. And last year, you had home field advantage. Like last year, you didn't have to go to KC. Last year, you didn't have to go to Cincinnati, which I don't think has happened yet. You had home field advantage, and you still lost to the team that everybody told me they were better than. So at some point, some onus has to be put on it.
5 straight division titles, though. 5 straight. Pretty damn good.
Okay, same thing for Andy Reid in that moment. But it wasn't good enough because he couldn't cross the finish line.
I hear you.
Because there's always it was Patrick Mahomes, or, it was Joe Burrow. Look, you want to keep your job, you got to beat one of them.
Yeah, I like that you're thinking outside the box. That is not the obvious choice at all, so I really like it.
It's also hate, too, man. I don't like Sean McDermott.
Because?
I don't know.
Okay. You have your reasons. Okay.
You know what, Shep? It goes back to yesterday's conversation when we were talking about the people with the votes and how those personal biases come in.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's personal bias.
Brays,
Let's do this last one. We'll shut it down because I know you want to get to the breakdown, and we can take a break and we can pay some bills. Don't do Gannon. We'll skip him. Put on Kevin Stefanski.
Ooh.
Same byproduct.
Yeah.
Just like
that makes
Cincinnati Bengals. He is a head coach that is an offensive guru. Look at what he's done. Just look at what he's done. Joe Flacco, ladies and gentlemen, was comeback player of the year a year ago and got them to the playoffs. And by the way, he was mowing the grass when they called him. Like, look what he's done. Baker Mayfield, he went through that whole fiasco. Oh, by the way, you choose to give guaranteed money upwards of $235 million to a guy that's on case for 39 cases at the time. That's the guy you gave him to play quarterback. Yeah. Like, these Cleveland Browns at every turn have failed Kevin Stefanski as a head coach. In my opinion, they failed him as a head coach. So he'll get fired, but it won't be his fault.
It won't be justified.
It won't be justified.
He's had 2 winning seasons in 5 years in Cleveland. He's 22-11 in the victory seasons, and the other 3, he's 3-14 after, or 3-14 last year, 18-29. So he's 40 up, 44 down overall, and he's named Joe Flacco as his starting quarterback. Not that I don't want to talk about age.
Joe gets it done.
You're asking an awful lot there. Asking an awful lot. The one guy I wanted to ask you about, and then we got to get going because I want the Braylon breakdown. Can't wait for Terrion Arnold, and we've got some things about Terrion Arnold that we want to discuss. Mike Tomlin.
He's on there. You can put the picture on there, Kool-Aid. Mike's
Tomlin's on there. And I've sworn by Mike Tomlin for a long, long time. But I think the patience in Pittsburgh is wearing thin. Whether you think they've had the talent or not, they just don't seem to get it done even when they do make the playoffs.
Mike Tomlin is never going to be he'll never be scared, or what's the word I'm looking for? He'll never be in danger. That's the word. He'll never be in danger of getting fired during the season. He'll never be in danger of getting fired to where it came out he got fired. This is Pittsburgh. They're old school, and guys that win them Super Bowls, they protect. Sure, they'll have a conversation with him in the offseason and say, hey, we think it's best for you to hang him up. And whatever you do from here is good. We won't fire you, but we also won't allow you to coach this next season.
We're gonna move you to a different position within the organization. It's 100%. Amazing. You were just talking about Stefanski. He's a 2-time coach of the year. Yeah. Mike Tomlin holds the NFL record for a head coach for most non-losing seasons in a row. Yeah. Consecutive non-losing seasons, 18 straight. He might be on the hot seat.
Because that was impressive. Shep, I'm going to be honest with you. That was very impressive when the Pittsburgh Steelers were the Pittsburgh Steelers and you still had Ryan Clark and there was an identity on the defensive side of the ball. And there's always been lack of respect amongst the offensive players, but at least it was a little more hidden, and the identity was there. The Pittsburgh Steelers are winning 11 games. They're probably going to be fighting for an AFC 2 seed or, 3 seed, depending on your 1 seed. Yeah. It just tapered off to the fact where after the AB stuff, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse in the locker room. Then there was no offensive accountability. The offensive line had always been strong behind the Pouncey twins. Now they can't protect anybody. Your quarterback is now playing till he's long in the tooth, gray hair. So it just got to a point, and I don't think he can get it back on the rails.
Last time they won a playoff game, January 15th, 2017. In some markets, that can be acceptable.
It's almost 10 years.
In Pittsburgh, it is unacceptable. When we come back, our favorite segment of the week, we would like to have it every single day, but then again, we would be greedy. It is Braylon's Breakdown, and it focuses on Terrion Arnold when we come back on the Braylon Edwards Show on Woodward Sports. Les Stanford Buick and GMC has great offers for everybody. Here's the breakdown, to borrow a Braylon Edwards phrase, the breakdown of Les Stanford. 2025 Hummer EV SUT lease special, $599 a month plus tax. 2025 Hummer EV SUV lease special, $699 a month. 2025 Sierra double cab elevation lease special, $169 a month. We could go on and on and on. As much as we would like Braylon's Breakdown, we could keep going for Les Stanford's Breakdown and the great specials he has for you. Get to Les Stanford or LesStanford.com to check out their massive inventory and pick out the right vehicle for you.
And you know what, Bray? Tell them where they can drive to get that secret sauce.
Dr. Jeff Pierce is the injury insider with the heavies, with Big D Energy on Tuesdays and with us, the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep on Thursdays, 248-426-9944. Dr. Pierce is the guy that can diagnose it all. We want to get you the best call. We want you to know exactly what is ailing you, what is aching you, what is troubling you, why is your golf swing a little bit off, why when you wake up in the morning, your neck's a little crook all the time. Doc can get you right, man. You twist your ankle, whatever you do. Doc can get you right, man. You're talking about the guy that was with the Red Wings when they won all 4 of the Stanley Cups. Doc knows it, man. He's got a Darren McCarty trust. So do I. Dr. Pierce, scan the QR code above my head.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Bar looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
The Tigers are the best team in baseball. Get the best coverage in Detroit right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Every Scooble start, every green homer, and all the action can be followed on all of our social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's World Series or bust, Detroit, and we are here for the ride. Woodward Sports.
College football is back this weekend, week 0, top 25 matchup, Kansas State versus Iowa State. And if you want to get in on the action, make sure you use code Woodward1000 on Caesars Sportsbook, as they have a money back bonus bet if you lose. But you're not going to lose because you're going to bet on Kansas or Iowa State +3, and you're going to make that money and do it risk-free with Caesars Sportsbook. Use code Woodward1000, minimum bet of $20, or scan this QR code above my head.
Black Rock, looking for your dinner plans that sizzle? Head to Black Rock Bar and Grill, home the steak on the stone. Mention Woodward Sports and score an exclusive 20% off on your total food bill just for our listeners. We want to give you something back 100%. Don't miss their daily deals like Tasty Tuesdays, Thursday Steak and Scampi Combo, and Sunday Sips. Also check out the new summer flavors menu with pineapple brulee cheesecake. Now that right there is amazing. The pineapple brulee cheesecake is cracked right at the table and crack into some crab legs. Black Rock is the place to be, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter if it's summer or if it's fall. They got it all.
And we back.
That was pretty catchy right there. You know what I'm saying? You see what I
Yeah,
did?
that looks. Oh my God, it looks so good.
They get us every time, man.
Yeah, it
Appreciate
really
that,
does.
brother.
I'm really excited about this. I know this is Christmas for me on a weekly basis. I love learning more about sports. I know a lot of us, including yours truly at times, thinks we know more than we probably do, but the opportunity to work with a guy who's played in the league as long as Braylon did at a high level and break down things that we should be looking for. Last week, in case you missed it, he was able to break down Isaac Tesla and his ability to come back and get a catch. And while I was looking at the football and his hands and his shoulders and running the route, he's looking at the lower half of his body and his body control. So it's made me look at things a lot differently. And I think, folks, in Braylon's breakdown today, when he takes you through why Terrion Arnold might be better suited in year 2 than he was in year 1, I think you'll be really impressed. So let's go through the Braylon breakdown, which is something that is the best segment in sports.
Excited to get to it, man. You know, we'll break down, and as we're breaking it down, we'll talk a little bit more about Terrion Arnold, what last year was and what this year could be. We got the video when you're ready, Jay?
Yes, sir. Give me 2 seconds.
This is going to be good. Yeah, I'm excited for the year that Terrion Arnold is going to have, and it's going to really be affected by the defensive line. That's why it's going to be very key for Aiden to eventually get back into form. Hopefully we start that way. And then also, what is JAMESON Williams going to be on the defensive line in the middle? DJ Reader going to have to play a big mentor role in that. Excited for that. And what can Marcus Davenport give us? Like, what is that going to be? Because if they can do anything, it will help Terrion Arnold on the outside. It will help DJ Reed on the outside. You know what you have in the back end in Branch and Kirby Joseph. I think it's going to be a really big year because of that. But look, let's start with this play. Now, as I get up, here we go.
Yeah, make it a little bit larger
testing,
on the
testing.
back.
1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, my God. It's so glad to be back in this. You got the video? You got the all right, here we go. There we go. All right, here we go. So line it up. Line it up. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, up. Go back. Go back. Go back. Take it back to the top. Take it back to the top, if you could, Jay. Are you?
So this is Terrion Arnold against JAMESON Williams.
Pause it right here. Pause it right here. Pause. Can you pause it, Jay? Where's Ricky when you need him? Here we go.
I got you. I got the pause button.
All right, so here we go. JAMESON Williams, line up J-Mo, Terrion Arnold. What J-Mo likes to do is because he's so fast, he relies heavily on the outside release. He likes to just run by guys. Most guys, J-Mo will be able to run by him, but this is a guy, Terrion Arnold, that also is a low 4-4 guy, but he knows J-Mo. What he does is he pushes him outside. He winds him. He's running a go route. When you run a go route, you want to keep spacing on the numbers. You want to get a quarterback those 4 yards from the numbers to the sideline, from here to the sideline, here to the sideline, to throw the ball, put the drop in the bucket. Watch where the ball is. Watch where the ball is exactly where you want to be. The ball is where it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be inside those numbers. But Terrion's patient, gets an arm on him, widens him to the sideline. Now, look, he's almost out of bounds. Like, look where his foot lands.
Yeah.
Take it back. His foot lands legitimately. If he would have caught it, he'd been out of bounds because the other foot wouldn't have got in. That's excellent job by Terrion Arnold, being patient at the line of scrimmage, putting hands on J-Mo, so now you affect the speed. When you run 4-2, what do you want to do? You want to start going because as soon as you start, you take off. Puts his hand on him, disrupts his route, winds him to the sideline. Now J-Mo has nowhere to go. Look, patient, put his hands on him, disrupts the route. He's still in phase. He's underneath. And then he plays the ball. That's the other thing. This is what he did not do last year. Appreciate you, Justin. You're doing a great job. Take it back. The one thing he didn't do last year, got a lot of penalties because he didn't play the ball. He would play through the defender and forget to turn to the quarterback. That's how you don't get the penalties. Reason why he got so many penalties last year is in the SEC at Alabama, they let the DBs play. They let them play, whether it's LSU versus Alabama, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Oklahoma. They let DBs play. Nick Saban is very aggressive on the defensive side of the ball. So you're looking at a player that's come from Alabama, that's come from the SEC conference, where you can get away with that. He'll be better this year because now he'll know how to play the game. Look, that's legal. Ladies and gentlemen, that's legal. He didn't touch his helmet like he got penalized for last year. Put his hand on the shoulder pad, and that caused J-Mo to rise up. And then look, plays it perfectly. You can't play it any better than that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called progress. You want to give J-Mo all the progress and all the credit for what he's done and how he's looked? Well, you better give some to Terrion Arnold because this is the same guy that we talked about. Oh, my God, did Brad Holmes miss on the pick? This is one rep, but this is an excellent rep. This is excellently done from start to finish. Leverage was good. He got a hand on J-Mo. He disrupted J-Mo's route. Now J-Mo had to create something. Terrion didn't go for it, played it perfectly, and this is how he finished. J-Mo had to make this type of catch to catch it. If that's the type of catch that you have to make to beat Terrion Arnold, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to have a damn good year, because there's only a couple guys that can make that catch. One's in your division. I can't wait to see that matchup. But this is excellent. This is what you want to see from Terrion Arnold in year 2. From start to finish, this is a really good rep. J-Mo got beat on this one. He actually got BTA, as they say, belt to you-know-what. So excited to see this iron sharpening iron. I can't wait to see the next play, because you know J-Mo's going to come back with something. But this is a good sign, man. When you get the chance to play when you practice against this, Shep, when this is what you're practicing against day to day, and this is just one DB that he's practicing against and getting this type of rep and this type of speed, there's another DB on the opposite side in Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's another emerging DB in Isaac Tesla and Tim Patrick when he comes back. So you get a chance as Terrion Arnold and DJ Reed and Amik to see a tall, big body wide receiver who can jump up. How do I play that? You get a chance to see an Amon-Ra, a smaller type, I don't want to say smaller, but a smaller type of receiver who knows how to run excellent routes, who's great at running, adapting, adjusting. And then you get a chance to play against a guy that runs 4.2. So you get to see what it looks like for that blur to run by you. So it gives you an opportunity when you play against DK Metcalf, when you play against Tyreek Hill, when you play against Justin Jefferson. You got a little bit of that in your wheelhouse that you're practicing against.
I love it, man. It's another great breakdown on Braylon's breakdown. A couple things that I wanted to ask you about. First of all, the makeup
shoulders.
speed, because Jameson Williams, you respect it. When he gets free, Arnold basically step for step with him, which is pretty impressive. It shows you his quickness and speed, doesn't it?
100%, it does. Another thing that happens in J-Mo, when you're squared shoulders, you're going to get beat. Watch J-Mo when he starts the route. He squares his shoulders and he's straight up. Look at that. DB's in heaven when you're doing this. A DB is in heaven when you're doing this.
What should he be doing?
He should be down. Like, the lean should be down. You should be moving on this way. Like, you put the head down, you put the lean down. Now it forces the DB to open up faster, forces the DB to pick a side. When your shoulders are flat line like that, he doesn't have to pick a side. He can play you, he can rock with you, and he can just be patient.
I love that.
And he's inching outside.
Yeah.
Like, he's inching to where he wants to go.
Like that
is so good.
100%. It's over.
That is so good. All right, the other thing I wanted to ask you about is Terrion Arnold's hips.
Yeah.
So these are the things I'm learning through the Braylon breakdowns. It's not always looking at feet and where his body is. So there's a head slap there. There's an attempted swim move. But the hips of Terrion Arnold, what are you looking at there, and what do you notice?
He's square. Like, he's low. He's square. He's where he wants to be. He has good spacing between his left and right leg so that he can put him in the ground and open if he needs to, so he can come back on the inside if J-Mo would have tried to run an inside route. But there's power in the spacing. There's power in spacing, and there's power in leverage. He had the leverage because he was the low man. Like, this is every sport. Every sport is low man wins. That's every sport. And look who's lower. Terrion Arnold. Look right there. He's lined up. He's low. Look at it up. The spacing between his feet. Space between his feet. He's patient. Gets the hand on him. And then right there, he knows J-Mo's going. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open up as well. And then once J-Mo starts to look like he might be looking for a pass, and there it is. There it is. J-Mo looked up with his head, looked up a little too early, and there it is.
Snap, you're right, because as soon as J-Mo looked back, that's when you see the closing speed turn on.
100%. And that's when you see the technique.
Right.
And that's when you can see the technique that Coach Deshae Townsend has been working on, turning, playing through the ball. He knows. You know when he knew to turn around? It's the gather. One of the best players at this, Randy Moss and T.O., like two studs at this, is not letting you know when the ball's coming. You either do the gather, which is you get ready. Oh, I know the ball's coming, so now I'm about to gather to jump up. DB feels the gather, DB turns. The other thing you do is the hands. That's why Randy Moss, you never saw Randy Moss' hands until the ball literally was right here. Like, Randy Moss would run like this. The ball could be about right here. You wouldn't see it until the ball was in his hands. He'd do like this. DBs, look, when you get to doing this, that's when the DB will look up, because he know the ball flight has told the receiver it's about to drop in the bucket.
Not today,
That's great stuff, man. I mean,
That's fire.
the timing is perfect for Arnold too, and to his credit, no PI here,
Nope,
and
not at all.
that's the thing that people were upset about him last year. Let's give you an example real quick. First 4 games of Terrion Arnold's NFL career, he had 8 penalties, a quarterback rating against him of 113, 14 receptions on 19 targets. Those are the first 4 games, all right? He's also a guy who at the end, the last 14 games, okay, including the one against Washington, 3 penalties. Not bad.
Yeah.
For a guy who played all 75 snaps against Washington defensively, on the year missed just 1 game, and was one of 5 NFL defensive rookies to play 900 snaps or more.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a huge year. He said out loud, the game is slowing down for him.
Yeah.
You can relate. How do you know? How long did it take? Do you get a sense just from watching that clip and some of the other things you've witnessed at practice that indeed it is slowing down?
For me, it slowed down in year 3, and the only reason why is because I tore my ACL at the end of year 1. So a large part, even though I came back and started week 1, season 2, a lot of that year was me figuring out my knee, the mental space of my knee, when my knee is right. Do I trust my knee? Can I go up for it? Do I feel like I used to? So it was that. But when the game slows down for you, Shep, you're no longer thinking. That's the biggest thing of the speed of the NFL, the speed of collegiate. It's not 40 times or a bench press. It's the film. It's, do I feel confident in what I know? Is my knowledge something that I trust? Do I know that on this route, if it's cover 2, this goes to a skinny seam? Do I know that or do I think that? Because if I think that, now when I'm in the game, I run my skinny seam a little later because it's delayed. Because I'm like, oh, is this it? Is this it? Oh, well, it looks like I'm getting the ball, so it's right. You just start to really understand the game. It slows down. Like, you trust the feelings. You trust the tape. You start calling out things. Like, my in year 3 in 07, that's the year I had 16 touchdowns. Like, it was just, I remember we played the Miami Dolphins, and I just I could do no wrong. DBs would line up. I looked at it. I said, oh, this is Michael Lehan. Inside shade at the line of scrimmage. He's probably going to put his left arm on me. You know what? I'm going to take a step back, move, let him miss with his left hand. Now he's dead in the water. Like, it happened just like that. But it was the film. It was what I was studying. I trusted the information that I was being given by my coaches, Coach Rubisky. I trusted the information that Derek Anderson and I had in the huddle. It was like, hey, look, this is what it is. This is what I see. If you see this, this is what we're going to do. So that trust and that film study and that consistency, you know, this is how you get better, and this is when the game slows down. And when it slows down, it's a beautiful feeling, man. You see the guys that are on top in this league, the catch of a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, or when you see Aiden Hutchinson coming off the end like he was early last season, that's when the game slows down. That's when you get those plays. Because you can't practice that. You know what I'm saying? That's called trust. So
such great information, no doubt. I'm really excited about this next segment. Over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 days, I've had this on our rundown, wanted to get Braylon Edwards' thoughts. Saw a recent list of the greatest college players per position of all time. We'll get your thoughts on it. I think there's some omissions, but if you've got an idea and you want to get involved in the chat, feel free. In the meantime, Buddy's Pizza may not be free, but it tastes so good it is worth every single penny. At your neighborhood Buddy's or Buddy'sPizza.com, check out their new barbecue brisket pizza, the barbecue chicken salad, and, of course, the Super Summer Sundae. Plus, they have new smash stacks, the burgers done the Detroit-style way. Square slice, smash stack, full flavor, Sundays. What more do you want? It's only at Buddy's Pizza and Buddy'sPizza.com.
And then tell them where they can go and work that pizza off, Bray.
Boy, oh boy. I appreciate all this business, man. Keep the lights on, man. Teams 14 and 19, yo, your day is coming soon. It will no longer be the high school summer pass, but you got a couple days left. August 31st, it is over. We want to get you out of the house, away from the screens. We want to get you into a gym where there's no judgment, man, where there's working out going on, where there's good energy, there's good vibes. That's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. And for those that aren't 14 and 19, just come out. This is the place to work. There's no judgment. There's no critique of you. There's trainers, but there's no critique. And they're going to get you right, man. It's a good energy place. I go there. I use it. I love it, as I used to say on my 5-hour energy commercial. So I use it. I love it.
Walk
into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
The Tigers are the best team in baseball. Get the best coverage in Detroit right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Every scoop will start, every green homer, and all the action can be followed on all of our social media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It's World Series or bust, Detroit, and we are here for the ride. Woodward Sports.
7-2 Tigers, by the way. Let's be honest. We want to make sure that we keep things as simple as possible when it comes to our daily lives. I mean, maybe not your weekends because you want to tear it up a little bit, but during the week, you want things to go as smoothly as possible. Let's use the word uncomplicated. Lady Jane's understands that, and Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men takes that into account for you. That's why they allow you to walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're in a chair with a lovely young lady having a really good conversation. And by the time she's done with working on your head of hair, you're out handsome and clean and looking really sharp. Lady Jane's open 10 till 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
Hey, you guys already know you got to get fit. You got to get fresh. You stop off at Lady Jane's so you can get the cut. And then you got to go and get the gear. Why? You got to look fresh. Just a quick note here. Woodward Fantasy Show, it kicks off tonight at 7:30 p.m. So get the cut, get the gear, and then tune in 7:30 tonight. Woodward Fantasy Show, man. Fantasy jerks. You want to tap in. What type of gear? Oh, Woodward Sports Shop got you covered with that, man. It beats anything that you guys got going on in the closet right now. It's a new era of sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparels, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports latest gear at woodwardsports.com. Make sure that you click shop. Got hoodies, tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. So get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com. Make sure you click shop. And we back.
Smash that like button, that's for sure, especially if you really enjoyed Braylon's breakdown, and I would guess that you did because it was really good stuff. I noticed this, I think it was early last week, so I've been sitting on it for a while because we've had so many good conversations about the game of football, but primarily at the NFL level. I saw an article that had the best players in college football history per position. So I'm excited to get your thoughts on this. The first team offense they had with Randy Moss and Larry Fitzgerald as wide receivers. Sorry, Braylon. But they had Randy Moss out of Marshall and Larry Fitzgerald out of Pittsburgh.
I got more yards and touchdowns than Larry, but he did it in 2 years, so no hate here.
Tackles, Orlando Pace, Ohio State, Bill Fralick, Pittsburgh. Now, some of these guys, not all of us have seen, right? But Bill Fralick was an absolute beast at Pittsburgh. Guards, John Hanna, Alabama, Jim Parker, Ohio State. That was 1956, so I can't relate. Center, Chuck Bednarik.
You know it's bad when Shep doesn't know some of the people.
That's a good call.
I cannot relate. Tight end, Brock Bowers. That makes a lot of sense considering what he did at Georgia. Quarterback, Tim Tebow. Running backs, Barry Sanders and Herschel Walker. And the kicker, Sebastian Janikowski. I'm not sure how many people care. Johnny Rodgers got all-purpose. I think what they needed to do with something like
who?
this. The quarterback was Tim Tebow, 2 national championships.
He didn't start 2. He won 2. There's a difference.
Yeah, Chris Leak started the other.
Exactly.
Yeah. I believe
that's cat.
What you should probably do is break this down into 20, maybe a couple of decades, 3 decades, 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-2000, since 2000, something like that. Maybe go from, the 1965 or 1975 to 2000 or 1985 to 2000. There's got to be a little bit more than just this is the best of all time. But knowing some of those names, I don't expect anything from the offensive line standpoint, but strictly from wide receivers, running backs, and quarterback, how would you gauge how they put it, what they put in there?
I mean, I'm not arguing Barry. Barry's arguably the greatest college player of all time, especially with that junior year for the Heisman. Like, it's no denying that. Other running back was Herschel.
The other running back was who did I say? It was
Herschel.
It was Herschel Walker. Yeah.
I'm not taking Herschel Walker over Barry. I think some of these people are Colt icons too because of the Coltness, because of the name. Like, I looked at one list. It said Bo Jackson was the 3rd best player in college football history. It's absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
Like, what he did was amazing, but he's not the 3rd best player in college football. I would agree with you that they need to break it down by eras, because when you do this, like, you'll make nobody happy. We can't argue. We can't respect the league from 95 to 85 with the basketball debate.
Right.
We're talking 10 years.
Right.
How are you going to bring in players that played from the 50s and have a legitimate conversation?
Yeah.
As it relates to who they chose, Larry Fitzgerald was amazing. Like, at Pitt, like, I watched him make a catch against Texas A&M in the bowl game that I said I had to step my you-know-what up. And I said, no, if that's what they're doing on the collegiate level, like, I'm not ready yet. So he 22 touchdowns as a junior. He finished 2nd runner-up in the Heisman. Like, he was that deal.
Yeah.
And I was just as good, but Larry was a little more mature at the wide receiver position. Randy was special. Like, Randy's my favorite wide receiver of all time. Like,
is he?
Yeah, it's not even close. Jerry's the best of all time. There never will be a denying that. Like, he's my favorite football player of all time. But if I'm choosing a guy, it's Randy Moss. Like, the electricity that he brought in '98 to the league. Tebow, I respect. I'm going to start there. I respect the national championship. I respect the whole podium thing. I don't like people crying. It's never been my thing. But it worked for Tebow. It worked after they lost the Arkansas game or Ole Miss, and they come back and they win the national championship, and he was a part of the other national championship. Chris Leak started, but that jump pass, and that, I think he had 12 or 14 touchdowns that year. So, he had an amazing year his last year. They finished with 1 loss or 2 losses. They beat Cincinnati 55-12. But I'm not taking Tebow over Vince Young. And that's just in that space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not taking him over Vince Young. Does anybody know what Cam Newton did 1 year in Auburn? I'm not taking Tebow over Cam Newton that one particular year. Johnny Manziel is the biggest example of why NIL should have existed. The biggest example of why players should be played is how much money Texas A&M was worth in 2012 versus what they were worth in 2015. So I look at, I'm looking at things like that.
Joe Burrow was last year at LSU. That was an unbelievable season.
And that's worthy.
Right? For what it's worth, and I can understand. Look, I completely understand where you're going. Cam Newton was unbelievable at Auburn. Vince Young. Tebow remains the SEC career leader in rushing touchdowns and TDs responsible for. 13-0 was last year, but lost to Alabama in the SEC title game. They won the national championship as a sophomore. He put up some really impressive numbers, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, there's a lot of really good debate. Here's what surprised me.
There's a value, though, I want to ask you about.
Yeah, the thing that surprised me just a little bit is, and you may kind of shrug your nose at this, Archie Griffin is the only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner in history. How is he not in there? And I'm not saying take out Barry, and I'm not saying take out Herschel Walker, because to me, I mean, Herschel Walker was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize this. And I know it gets always mentioned with quarterbacks, but the Bulldogs went 33-3 with Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
Herschel Walker was special. You could make the argument, this is college now. I'm not talking about the NFL. College, he was the greatest running back of all time. 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns as a freshman. and he led the Bulldogs to a 12-0 record and a national title. 150 yards with 2 touchdowns with a separated shoulder in the Sugar Bowl against Notre Dame. 1,800 yards as a sophomore. 1,700 yards as a junior. And he won the Heisman Trophy. He's one of those guys who was in the conversation for a Heisman Trophy all 3 years he was at Georgia. He was amazing.
All right, if we want to play that game,
Yeah.
and I agree with you about Archie Griffin. He won 2 Heismans, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
his stats back it. Like, I did some background check maybe a couple years ago because I'm a Michigan guy. Man, you always talk about Archie. He wasn't like that. Yeah, Archie was floating under 2,000 like the whole time he was in college, so I understand it.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a conversation about Herschel Walker, then why can't I have that conversation about Ron Dane? Because Ron Dane had 1,900 as a freshman.
Yeah.
Ron Dane had 2,200 as a sophomore. He had 2,000 as a junior, and he had 1,800 as a senior.
You can have that conversation. No question.
I think the value in these conversations, and this was why it's a cool thing, is Herschel Walker was the reason why Georgia was where they were and did what they did. It is a direct correlation to Herschel Walker, Georgia's success, and then the Heisman and all the stats. When you mention a name like Derrick Henry, because a lot of the young guys are going to ask, well, why isn't Derrick Henry on here? It'll be a great question.
Yeah.
He went over 2,100 yards. They won a national championship. But it's Derrick Henry, and it's the Hogan's Hero list of all-stars.
Yeah.
When you're looking at that team, you're looking at, and this is what everybody did. So you take a little bit of credit away from Derrick Henry because, Mark Ingram did that.
Yeah.
T.J. Yeldon did that. Eddie Lacy did that. Scatterborough did that. Insert running back that's done it.
Yeah.
Nobody's done that at Georgia since. They've had some good running backs, obviously, with Todd Gurley and Sony Michel and those, but it's the value. Because for me, Cam Newton, you can't even I think I just saw something recently. The NFL starts for that particular team that won the national championship, the Auburn team, is 168. Cam's got 144 of them. Cam's got 144 of them. You can't say that about Tim Tebow because there were the Pouncey twins. There's Aaron Hernandez. There's Percy Harvin. There's the linebacker. I can't think of his name. Spikes. Brandon Spikes.
Yeah.
You do that with Vince Young. I love Vince Young. There's Cedric Benson. There's Sylvan Young. There's wide receivers. A little bit less on his side, but he had a great defense. So what is the value? Herschel Walker and Barry Sanders bringing the value like no other.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's why perhaps the Herschel Walker thing's just that much more impressive. Mike Bobo's your quarterback, for crying out loud. There's something to be said for that. And I thought Bo Jackson, my immediate, I'm thinking more recent too.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, to put that in perspective, 43 touchdowns. Herschel Walker had 52. Herschel Walker averaged 160 yards per game. That's incredible. So put it in perspective, Jim Brown, different era, arguably the greatest college player of all time, 26 touchdowns. Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, 27 touchdowns. That's how much far and away Herschel Walker's numbers are than some of the other greats of all time.
Yeah, no, it's very valid. And I think, too, it's when you look at a system as one person, and it takes a while for it to happen again, versus a system that just exists and is continued success. Look at how many running backs Michigan had, so from pretty much when my dad was there till now. So it's like, this is social structure. Look at Wisconsin, the Badgers. They had Ron Dane, and they went on to Michael Bennett, then they went on to Michael James, and then they went on to Jonathan Taylor. Before that, they had another 2,000-yard running back.
They had Brian Calhoun in there, who was
player.
halfway decent, I suppose.
Are you on this list?
No. This is just,
now.
he said the starters.
Yeah, I just said starters.
Yeah.
That's all the list is associated with. The only other quarterback
I got
was
more
thinking,
touchdowns than both of them, though.
That's interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the other guy I was thinking of was Peyton Manning at the quarterback spot, just because of how decorated he truly was and the number of touchdowns he threw for and the SEC records he set, which were broken by his brother as well. Let me get you to the defense real quick.
I would push back on Peyton because then that's where I would bring Tebow back up. Peyton couldn't win the big game.
Right.
And that's major if I'm gonna make you the starting quarterback for the greatest team of all time. You gotta have won the game.
Agreed.
Before you go to the defense, I have a question.
Yeah.
Who is of my era? So from 2000 on, Who is your starting quarterback?
From 2000 on.
Yes.
Vince Young or Cam Newton. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and if we're looking at the total college career, that's probably correct. Joe Burrow's year at LSU
you had to win one national championship game.
Is arguably the great. Now, he had unbelievable talent around him,
Yes.
but he highlighted that talent. I'm not going to hold that against him. I would probably say Joe Burrow from LSU.
I think it's Cam or Joe Burrow.
I don't have a problem.
Vince Young was almost
also,
unstoppable.
I respect
Vince
that, but
unreal too.
I respect it, but this is the part about Vince where he can't get past one. Like, if you want to make Cam 1A, which I do, fine. He has to be 1B. The 3 greatest teams that I've ever seen in college football, one of them was the 04 excuse me. One of them was the 05 USC team. Actually, I think the 04 team was better. That's the team that won 55 to 55 and beat Oklahoma. That team was the number 1 team. This USC team was amazing. Vince beat them.
Yeah. Right.
Like, he beat Reggie Bush. He beat Lindell White. He beat 2 Heisman Trophy winners after getting left off the Heisman that year. Well, he didn't win it, but
one of the coldest moments in
so
college
it's just one of those things where, like, that's a fact that I can't unsee.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I played him the year before. He had 192 yards rushing on us and 212 yards passing. We couldn't stop this dude.
Yeah.
I saw with my own eyes and then saw what he did to USC. I was like, whew, I thought it was just us.
Yeah, the thing that made me say Burrow, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Justin, I think his completion percentage was 76%. I think he had somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 touchdowns.
Yes, he did.
And I think he threw for almost 5,500 yards.
He had the greatest single season as a college quarterback.
Yeah. He threw for more than 5,500 yards. He threw for 5,700 yards. Now, he threw a lot of passes, but think about that for a minute. That is unbelievable. 60 touchdowns and 6 picks. That's it.
I hate to be this guy. Like, the 2 guys that he was throwing the ball to could arguably go down in history as 3 and 4 wide receiver all time.
Sure.
Like, oh, by the way.
But he still got him the ball.
And there's another, because he also had a first-round running back and a first-round tight end in Randy Moss's son.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, I mean, somebody's got to get him the ball. I'm not going to hold
those throws. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I'm not. All I said was I hate to be that guy. Like, I'm not tripping. Like, I believe Joe Burrow. He's who I champion in the NFL. This is the guy I'm always talking about how good he is. But
how far behind is Lamar Jackson from this group? Because he didn't have nearly the help that any of those guys had. Or Deshaun Watson, as shitty as a person as he is.
Yeah. So just to put it in perspective, Cam Newton at Auburn, his last year, 2,800 yards, closer to 29, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks, and completed 66%. Not the same talent. I understand that. But I'm not going to take that away from – I mean, Dan Marino had pretty good talent. Joe Montana had really good talent. I should penalize Patrick Mahomes because he won a Super Bowl with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, and I'm not going to do that.
No, because it's the NFL. You're talking about college. Much easier to win when you have 2 of the greatest receivers in the NFL. Right now, they're 1 and 2, and they've been 1 and 2 since they've been in the NFL, which tells me that they were that good in college. So when you have that not an unfair advantage, but when you have that advantage, like, it makes the question, like, could I say that? Yeah, that's why you bring it up.
But we're also bringing up, you got to hit certain plateaus. You got to win a national championship. Check.
Yeah.
You've got to be the best player in the country. Check. You've got to be able to win your conference. Check. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. He checks all the boxes.
He does. And one thing you left off very convenently for Cam Newton, check those rushing yards.
Rushing yards, right.
You left those out.
Right. Well, I was just giving passing because I compared Burrow's passing and so on.
Yes.
So yeah,
and
look,
that's where the makeup is for Joe Burrow's 5,500 yards. The makeup is Cam had 1,600 yards rushing,
1,473 and 20 touchdowns. So if you look at that combined, he threw for 30, rushed for 20. There's 50. Burrow threw for 60. I don't know how many he rushed for.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the beauty of sports.
Yeah,
and he avoided sacks, which is the biggest thing when you have to put up those type of rushing numbers as a quarterback in college.
The what? I'm sorry.
He avoided the sacks, all those sacks.
Avoided the sacks? Yeah. Well, I don't. If you're gonna get sacked a lot, you're probably not winning national championships, and you're probably not winning.
Do you remember that national championship game as well? Like, that's also, like, I'm not hating on at LSU. But that's also where I'm like,
He is Superman.
like they beat Ohio State like by 60. Like the game was over with in the first minute of the first quarter. It was a lights out show. Yeah, that was
Hey,
amazing.
shout out to eFog3 in the chat as well, because he said that Braylon jersey is fire. I need to get that. I need to cop that.
Which one?
He's talking about the Michigan jersey. He says it's straight fire, man. Straight fire. And
appreciate that.
So, we had to go and do some things. We talking about some of the best of all time. And, I mean, come on now. Hey, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying,
that
man,
#1 jersey with that's crispy,
I appreciate
bro.
that.
Especially against that team.
I appreciate it, man. It's so funny. I went to that event yesterday with Mike Hart, man, and the first time I've been with Mike in an outing like this in a long time, and they were talking about that game, and that's why I tell people all the time, like, yes, I had 3 touchdowns, I had whatever, and yes, I balled out, I had a game. So many people in that game contributed, man. I told a story yesterday when I was telling that game because they asked me about it when I had the mic in my hand. I'm like, you guys don't realize everybody contributed to that win. Mike had 215 yards rushing and a touchdown in that game. And it gets overshadowed because how the game played out at the end. Mike had 215 as a true freshman in a rivalry game. Like, stuff like that is major, it's big time. I mean, Mike's got 43 career touchdowns. He's got Bo Jackson numbers, or excuse me, Herschel Walker numbers. He's got 43 career touchdowns. He's got 4,800 career rushing yards.
Yeah, close to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Herschel with 52, but close to it. Yeah. Herschel did his in 3 years. Mike Hart did his in 4, right? Or was it? Yeah.
What do you think about this jersey?
That's the one right there.
I love that.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the 100th game, Ohio State, Michigan. That's actually the only time I beat them.
Well,
Man, it felt good.
I had to get the right one.
It's better than what Jack Sawyer and Tyreek Williams did against Michigan.
100%,
Those guys were all
0
0-4. Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of that, let me get to the defense real quick. The first team defense. Hugh Green, Randy White.
Yep.
Okay, are the ends. Absolute monsters. And Ndamukong Suh as a DT. Bronco Nagurski, can't help you there. Linebackers, Dick Butkus, Derek Thomas, Chris Spielman is part of that, which is interesting.
I don't know about that one.
And then the corners, Charles Woodson and Deion Sanders.
Yes.
And the safeties, Ronnie Lott and Ed Reed.
I don't have a problem with anything except the linebacker. Like, how you leave out Mike Singletary at UAB is asinine. Like Mike Singletary at UAB, he had 100.
Baylor.
At Baylor, excuse
that's
me.
right.
Same color scheme.
That's
Yeah,
right.
My apologies.
Yep.
Yeah, he had 130 tackles, 33 tackles in like 3 different games. Like, he was a man-child, and then he proceeds to be that in the league. I feel like there's a lot of good DNs that came out like in my era. Like, that's when they start to focus on the DN a little bit more, drafting them first overall, paying them. I'm trying to think of someone's.
Well, I can say this, and you guys are all too young. I watched Hugh Green at Pittsburgh.
You see, I didn't say anything about Hugh Green.
Oh, I know you did.
Yeah.
Well, Randy White was unbelievable at Maryland.
Hey,
he was.
Dallas.
But
No, the
he
Broncos.
played college ball at Maryland, played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Hugh Green, I thought, should have won the Heisman Trophy. That's how good he was as a defensive end. Like, he was unbelievable. So good. Bubba Smith was a really good defensive end at Michigan State. So that's, again, I love these conversations. Leroy Selman, Oklahoma.
Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers.
North
That's
Carolina.
a really good one. Yeah. So all those things were, I just think, it's so fun to talk about the collegiate game because so many really good schools have come out with so many really good players overall. We talking running back. We didn't mention Marshall Faulk was really good.
Ooh,
right?
San Diego State.
Yeah.
My runner-ups for DB though would be Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey.
Yeah.
He was electric. He was electric out of Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, he went to Georgia, and then Rod Woodson. Rod played too. Purdue.
Yeah. Right. You would put him at corner instead of safety,
I'll put him in backup. For this, I put him at
backup.
safety.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is cheating. I put him at safety.
Yeah, you are cheating there, but I like
Bob Sanders.
I like the thought.
Good.
Yeah, Bob Sanders was so
played
good at
against
Iowa.
him.
Yeah. Well, there's so many really good players. That's why these things are so difficult, and that's why, again, I've said they need to break it down based on certain generations. All right, quick timeout, and then we'll get to the mailbag here on the Braylon Edwards Show on Woodward Sports. Stay with us.
Hey, yeah, look, I got to tell the people where they can go to follow us. You guys already know. is at Woodward Sports everywhere. You want to stay tapped in because we got a lot of different shows, not just the main 4 shows during the week that I know that you guys are all tapped into, but we also got the weekend content. We also got the late night content. You guys want to stay tapped in. So again, tonight, Fantasy Jerks is on at 7:30 after heavyweight. So make sure you guys are tapped in. All right. Stay connected with Woodward Sports on all social platforms. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, along with YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok for the latest sports news, live updates, behind the scenes action, and giveaways. Who don't like to win cash? Who don't like to win tickets? Who doesn't like to win jerseys? So make sure you stay tapped in. Hit the follow button and be a part of Detroit's #1 digital sports network at Woodward Sports everywhere.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
It's a really good top 10 future opportunity for Braylon Edwards. This is what we try to do.
Yeah.
Kind of put it on the tee. You know, it's not the Little League World Series, which, by the way, we all played Little League here, right? We loved it. I've had enough. I mean, oh my God, you know,
I miss the Danny Almonte days, man. Those are fun. Monet Davis.
Am I on that island or?
Cut it off. Nope.
I don't. I like seeing it once in a while.
Yeah.
It's every day.
No,
it's a different game every day. I mean, I was playing Nebraska today for what? I have no idea. It's incredible.
The setups used to be a lot better. Like back in the day, ESPN, they did a better job of presenting the game. Here's this picture, Danny Almonte. Here's his story. This is the teams they're playing against, and you just saw a little snapshot. And what they gave you was done well. You were immersed in it. Like now, it's so much content. Why are there so many different teams in the same state now? Like I feel like they've expanded the field, expanded the broadcast.
It feels like the opening day of the NCAA basketball tournament with teams I don't care about and with players I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a wet blanket here because I love Little League baseball. I coached it.
IUPUI? You know, you don't like those
I'm not an IUPUI type of guy. Indiana, Purdue, but it seems like it's a little much.
Yeah.
That's all. But a top 10 for Braylon, perhaps next week, are the best college players at each position during his era. And I think that would have been a better way for
you know who's going to be a wideout, so don't be alarmed. You know who's coming in at the wide receiver position. I'm just saying.
Hey, do we have a back wall for that? We might have a #1 jersey.
Just saying.
If we don't now, we're giving you a heads up, so you got time to get it. Let's get to the mailbag. By the way, the Tigers won 7-2. They just swept Houston, so it's a team that now in the month of August is 11-7. They are playing very good baseball as of late, and I know there's a lot of people who feel like teams have to prove you something. You weren't inspired by winning the series in Chicago or in Minnesota. You got to show me against Houston. Well, here's what you got. The last 6 games, you've scored 34 runs. Yeah. Last time I checked,
That's a lot.
5+ runs a game, you're going to win a lot of games. Okay? So I think they're playing really good ball right now, and they got really good pitching. They got Jack Flaherty was back on cue. Tarek Skubal last night, his 9th of the season, double-digit strikeout game. He's 3rd all-time in that category.
Finnegan's finding himself at the end of these games, too. He's looking good.
Who's that?
Finnegan.
Yeah. Kyle Finnegan's been outstanding since they picked him up. He hasn't. I mean, his ERA is 0, and then today Charlie Morton adds to that rotation.
It's his 4th star.
So that's pretty good.
He's been telling me.
Yeah,
I also love this. When you get to the postseason, which is still a ways from, you got to be able to win at home. The Tigers are now winning consistently at home. These last 16 games, I want to say they've only lost 2 at home. So a lot of
I think they have the second most home wins in all of baseball.
Yeah.
Which is really impressive.
Don't let them have a lead in the 8th inning. 62-0. I'm just saying.
Look, we
62-0. I'm just saying.
It's impressive. I know a lot of people didn't know much about Will Vest. When you've got the back end of the bullpen, and this is what I've talked about, and this is what I wanted at the trade deadline. The back end of your bullpen, you've got Will Vest, you've got Kyle Finnegan, Alex Lang, we'll see, okay? But he's got some nasty, nasty stuff. If you dial it back to 2 years ago, he's got some wicked stuff. Those are good swing and miss types of guys. And that's really going to be a huge part of what Detroit's success will be in the postseason. You've got to have that swing and miss guy at the back end of your bullpen, I think.
I don't know if it's just the last 3 series they played against the Sox, the Stros, and the Twins, but their fielding is outstanding, and they're hitting into a lot. The teams are hitting into a lot of double plays because the pitchers are doing their job. The fielding has been elite, man. And watching that, they're getting back to what they were good at last year. They were really good in the infield of fielding. They got better with Gleyber Torres this year. The hitting has gotten better.
Yeah, the defensive run saves for Gleyber Torres are not good.
Okay.
I do not like him as a defensive second baseman. He made a nice turn on the double play last night.
Saw that.
Their infield defense scares the hell out of me. But Andy Ibanez, Zach McKinstry at third base have been pretty good. Baez, about level.
Outfield solid.
Torres, not so good. Baez in center field has been outstanding.
Outstanding.
Simply outstanding.
Carpenter made a very nice catch, too.
Yeah, he did. And Wenzel Perez robbed a home run last night. So there's a lot of good things. To your point, there's a lot of really good things going on with him right now. So
you know what? We got some Tigers-related mailbag questions that just poured in here. So shout out to the chat family. They were going crazy during this Tigers game during the show as well. Saw them getting active. But shout out to Dante151 who's up first. He says, mailbag, how about those Pittsburgh Pirates helping the Tigers out by beating those Blue Jays? Tigers are now 1.5 games ahead of the Blue Jays for the 1 seed. And personally, it feels like it was just a week ago that the Blue Jays were ahead of the Tigers.
Yeah, that's because it was a week ago.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so both teams with 42 home knockouts on the year. How important is home field, do you think? Didn't help Houston last year.
It didn't help Houston.
Did help Cleveland.
Tigers won again in Cleveland. They won in Houston.
Helped New York.
I think it's cool to have home field advantage. I think this is a great place to play baseball in downtown Detroit at night. You're talking about in September, October. Like it is electric. But I think under this coach, I think this team, they don't care where they go.
I agree.
And I think that's how A.J. Hinch has kind of infused his mindset into the Tigers. They don't care where they play at. They'll be well coached. They'll be rehearsed. They'll be prepared. And they'll be ready. That last year, in this respect, it gave them a lot of that energy and a lot of that moxie coming into this year. Like, man, we win Houston, dusted them off. Framber who? Yeah. And then they almost did the same thing. They did get Class A. Carey did, but you won in Cleveland when they said you couldn't. So that sticks with you.
And Framber who today? There's only one team who has more road kills than the Tigers, and that's Milwaukee. They've got 37. All right, back to the mailbag. Thanks, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, look, Randall Smalls is on one right now.
Randall.
Shout out to Randall. He says, Tigers over Dodgers in 6. The pitching coach is the best in all of baseball. Can anyone stop us, is his question.
Yeah, that was about a month ago. That was not being said. People were worried about Jack Flaherty. What the hell's wrong with him? Why are guys getting injured? Reese Olson. What's wrong with the bullpen? Tommy Kahnle. When the Dodgers swept Detroit at the beginning of the season to start the year, people were overreacting. Can't play with the big boys. They have put all of that to rest. Chris Fetter is, I think, the best at what he does. There's a few other guys. Mike Maddox is pretty damn good too. But overall, I think he's the best at what he does. I think Detroit's coaching staff in general is as good as it gets.
Let me ask you this question about Chris Fetter as it relates to kind of how football is structured. Usually in the NFL, if you have an offensive coordinator that knows his stuff, that starts to have a successful offense, you start winning games, you start to worry about that offensive coordinator becoming a head coach. How is it in baseball with Chris Fetter? Like, is there a chance that he's licking his chops for another opportunity and it relates to being the head man, or is he content because this is what he wants to do, this is what he enjoys, this is his mark on the game?
Yeah, I've never talked to him about that. I would guess everybody wants to be at the pinnacle of their craft. Yeah. Usually it's third base coaches or bench coaches who get the next gig. Gotcha. So George Lombard would be in line, and he's interviewed each of the last 2 years for managerial jobs. Usually that's the next move.
Okay.
Pitching coaches, I mean, it's happened. Roger Craig, for example, for Detroit, but rarely does it happen. It's more often a third base coach because of the decision-making on the field and a bench coach.
I'm glad I asked that question. That was a lot of insight.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. So there you go. Whereas offensive and defensive, a pitching coach probably would be almost like a position coach in football, maybe getting that opportunity.
Like
that might be a little bit. Yeah, might be a little bit of a stretch there, but Chris Fetter's I would guess he would get some looks from people, and I wouldn't blame him one damn bit. That's it for this edition of the Braylon Edwards Show. Our thanks to Justin KoolAid.
Appreciate you, Jay.
But most of all to you for joining us in the chat and keeping this thing on its rails. We always enjoy commiserating with you during the Braylon Edwards Show, Monday through Friday, 2 till 4. We're back with you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Boom.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10, 5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Lamar looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network.